RE2, we're back, of course, talking some Nintendo, something we don't cover a whole lot on the channel. We got a direct confirmed for tomorrow, specifically geared towards the Switch 1. They have a different Switch 2 direct coming up like a week later or something. They dropped this tweet earlier, which says, tune in tomorrow, March 27th at 7 a.m. Pacific time for a live stream Nintendo Direct featuring around 30 minutes of upcoming games for Nintendo Switch. There will be no updates about Nintendo Switch 2 during this presentation. This Direct will be focused on the Switch 1, which isn't a surprise, again, because we already know there's a Direct coming up for the Switch 2. But it's nice to know that they kind of confirmed that, so there's literally no expectations for that. This actually was a direct we were kind of aware of from at least NateTheHate. I'd seen one of his tweets just like a day or so ago of him talking about there being an upcoming direct possibly on Thursday, which again was correct. The guy's always pretty spot on from everything I've ever seen. Now, as most of you know, we don't normally cover these kinds of events. We look more towards like state of play and stuff like that because of what we talk about on the channel, but we do hype these up occasionally if there's potential for something Square Enix related, which is kind of what we have here because we have a quote from Jeff Grubb with his Power Block, I guess, podcast he did earlier today where he was talking about this event, kind of how he heard about it, and that there's something coming out of this event that people will be talking about afterwards that's not necessarily Nintendo related.
Other games I'm like thinking of that could show up here. I don't know.
We thinking like third party.
There will be yes. I'll say, God, I wonder how I can phrase this. The reason I heard about a direct originally is because of a partner game, and I think that when we get out of this direct, no matter like what is the most exciting game, there will be one game that causes the most conversation, and it won't be about Nintendo necessarily. That's all I can say. I'm sorry for teasing it, but
obviously like a third-party project game, whatever, something that's not directly related to Nintendo, which of course Square Enix does qualify for. Now, that does not mean that there will be anything Square Enix at this event. We're just kind of hopeful for that, right? But it could be kind of anything, because what he's talking about seems to imply that it'd be like a big deal, whatever this reveal is going to be, this third-party thing. Whatever this announcement will be like a bigger deal than maybe some of the new reveals at this event, which is kind of interesting. That leaves a lot of, like, possibilities, really. I know there's a lot of talk of, like, I've seen somebody mention, like, the Master Chief Collection. There's a lot of talk of like, Xbox games coming to PlayStation. I hadn't personally seen anything about, it coming to, like, Nintendo platforms. I'm not surprised if that happens. But, of course, I don't really keep up with the Nintendo news, so I have no idea if that's, like, a rumor or whatever. But it makes sense to reveal it here. I mean, the Switch is, like, debatably, like, the best platform to put your stuff on, right? If you can put the Master Chief Collection or the Gears games or whatever on that platform alongside it coming to PlayStation as well, that's obviously fantastic. On the Square Enix side of things, of course, we do have plenty of possibilities for what it could be if it was anything related to Square Enix. You do have the remake project in like Final Fantasy 16. I don't know if they can get those games to work on Switch 1. Maybe they can. But regardless of that, we do have the Switch 2 event coming up, and they could have something there in regards to, 7 Remake, Rebirth, 16, whatever, on a Nintendo platform. But besides those, we have the usual culprits that we always fucking talk about. It's been like a month or more since we last talked about it. 9 Remake, Final Fantasy Tactics, Kingdom Hearts 4, Dragon Quest 12. A couple of these games that we know for sure exist, other ones that we're very certain exist based on a bunch of insiders that have never been officially revealed by Square Enix. We're just waiting for something. We need something from Square Enix. Again, I say it's like every time we talk about the potential of these games being at an event. We need an update from Square Enix on the future, what's happening in the future. And we still have nothing. It's almost the end of March, dude. We're like a fourth of the way through the fucking year, and we have nothing on the future of Square Enix. We need something eventually, goddammit. We also had Pyoro, who's apparently a reputable Nintendo leaker on Blue Sky, confirming that this is neither a partner direct or an indie direct. So, again, I guess a lot of focus potentially on third-party type shit. Now, in terms of the games we always talk about, like 9 Remake and stuff like that, there's been conflicting stuff, information on what platform that might be on, right? Whether it be on Switch 1 or Switch 2, right? I feel like it would make sense to be on Switch 1. Like, that's a massive platform. It'd be ridiculous not to take advantage of last gen. Like, PS4 and Switch 1 specifically, right? And what it really comes down to with these games is how long they've been in development, because, we have like Rebirth, for example, that is, next gen only, PS5, and this development was started back in 2021. So when you have something like the 9 Remake, Dragon Quest 12, Kingdom Hearts 4, like when was the development started on those? Was there ever, potential of it being next gen only or, being cross gen or something like that? I don't know. That's something we just don't really know as far as I'm aware, other than what, insiders have said, which has been conflicting sometimes. So I'm definitely interested in this event just because there seems to be a lot of focus on third-party stuff or whatever it might be. It's also, I've seen from like Kotaku and other sources that it might be like kind of like the last big hurrah, I think is what Kotaku called it, for like the Switch 1, because we're obviously getting close to the Switch 2 coming out, right? So there's a lot of potential for good stuff being here, but I'm more interested in like the Switch 2 just because that's the potential for Square Enix stuff, next gen stuff, that it wouldn't maybe be playable on something like the Switch 1. I don't know if like the Switch 2 event's supposed to be like partner focused or not. I have no idea. I don't keep up with that shit. That's kind of the event I'm more interested in potentially. Well, to add though, on the Square Enix side of things, I did see on like the gaming leaks and rumors like post about this direct or whatever that Square Enix is like geared up for something in regards to Chrono Trigger for the anniversary. So I guess some people are kind of hopeful for a remaster, a remake, maybe like the HD 2D remakes they've been doing or whatever, so something like that for Chrono Trigger. So maybe that's a possibility. I don't know if that's something that Jeff Grubb necessarily would be teasing. I know, don't get me wrong, I know Chrono Trigger is extremely fucking popular, but I just don't know if that's like a thing that he'd be hyping up from this event as like the most talked about thing, right? If it's just like a remaster of Chrono Trigger, would that really overshadow everything else at the event? I don't really know. Like a remake, that's potentially interesting, right? An HD 2D remake, maybe also. I mean, the Dragon Quest 3 one was very, very popular, so maybe a Chrono Trigger one would be too. I don't know. That's really kind of it for the video. We could go back and forth all day on speculation on what could potentially be at the event, right? But it's happening tomorrow, so there's not long to wait. I just want something from Square Enix, whether it's at this Direct, at Switch 2 Direct, in the goddamn near future, something from Square Enix. Like, let us know what's actually happening with your company. Like, what games are you producing? What products are you releasing for me to buy? Like, tell me something, please. Of course, to pass off to you guys, what are your thoughts on the Direct tomorrow, the upcoming Direct for the Switch 2? What are your speculations? What rumors are out there? What kind of info's out there? Because your boy doesn't keep up with that stuff. You guys can fill me in the comments if you'd like to. That's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @SaberYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.